just in case. Hey, Stefan, thanks for joining me for the webinar today.
Hey Rosie, thanks for inviting me. I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say I'm really excited to chat today about scaling beyond surveys, what it looks like for folks who are looking to get more out of the Alchemer and maybe scale to a business platform. So if you want to do a quick intro, tell us about yourself, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, thanks. Hey everybody, my name's Stefan. I'm the senior solutions engineer over here at Alchemer. Yeah, I live in the product every day. I talk to folks that have an interest of, moving beyond just kind of like a simple project by project data capture program inside of Alchemer and, building something more of what we call like a program inside of your platform. So we're really excited, like we said, to come in here and show you what we have for customers just like you guys. And yeah, we have some really cool stuff. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, thanks, Stefan. And I'm Rosie Davenport, the Director of Product Marketing here at Alchemer. I love talking to folks in your position, folks who are more technical than me. I think it's so fun to see what we can do, and really get an insider's take on how to build the most value out of using Alchemer. So let's get started. Cool. So today, we're going to cover the differences between individual accounts and a business platform at a high level. Then you've offered to do a live demo for us, which is always exciting. You never know how a live demo is going to go. I love those. And kind of go over the overview, the intro to what scaling to a platform account unlocks for users. We have some slides on security and support, and then we'll talk about next steps. So I think it'll be a quick one today, but let's get started. Okay, so this core question we have, most folks I think on this call are currently, Alchemer users or might be using a simple survey solution like a form solution, uh, which is great. But really, we want to dive into today the value you might unlock by scaling to a platform, which just gives you access to capabilities that you don't get on an individual plan. Um, I just want to reiterate, one is not better than the other. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's really just based on what outcomes, the kind of KPIs you have set for yourself and your team. And if you want to reduce manual labor, I think at a large scale. So let's start talking about individual plans. We have three individual plans here at Alchemer. Again, it's not better or worse than a business platform, just different. They're generally a little more affordable. But Stefan, I know you talk to users on a daily basis who are considering making this move. So tell us some of the high level value of the individual plans we offer here. Why do folks choose these?
Yeah, the individual plans are great for running ad hoc projects. You get someone tell you they need some information about your customers, and you just kind of really quickly run a survey, get some data about, that one initiative. Where we see folks really start to extract value from our platform when you go to the business platform is when you're starting to kind of level up your feedback capture, but also the distribution of your feedback and how we actually help you guys, operationalize the feedback and make sure that it's impacting your bottom line. We call that building out a program, and that's what our business level platform helps you guys get started with when you're ready to move from just kind of separate projects into a real sophisticated CX system.
Yeah, I love that. We to your point, the individual plans unlock the ability to run surveys, which is highly valuable and what a lot of people want to do. But if you want to scale up to a program, you do have to move to business platform. So let's talk about the business platform. We offer custom packages, right? They're scalable. Um, some things I think of as incredibly valuable are that you're unlocking more than just survey collection. You can collect feedback from different channels. And obviously there's a ton more value. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what the business platform unlocks?
Yeah, we talk when we talk about scale, the business platform, we're able to connect to those other systems like your CRM tools, your point of sale tools, your ERPs that, are tracking all of the transactions from your customers. And instead of, having just kind of a survey go out to a list of customers, we see folks capturing more real time, real in the moment feedback using our digital solutions, using our integration suite, which we make really accessible and easy to configure to make sure that the data is not just sitting inside of Alchemer, but it's also flowing through your business and arriving at the in the right systems and in front of the right people that can actually, take action on the feedback that your customers are giving you.
I know that's so valuable. We hear this all the time, how gaining access to connecting feedback data, to and fro systems is saves so much manual time. It also makes things quicker. It gets, your systems automated. Um, I know we have more than 400 available integrations. So, from Salesforce and HubSpot to Power BI to smaller, I can't even think of any smaller platforms, but it feels like the use cases are endless here. Wherever you need to send your data to Excel, maybe you want to personalize a survey. I know you're going to show us how to do that a little bit later today, but I think that is a ton of value. The other thing you mentioned is unlocking real-time feedback. And as a marketer, I think about this. If you were to offer me a way to get a higher engagement rate more quickly, within the moment feedback, like that's incredible. So I want to just spend a minute talking about that digital tool we have in the business platform. This is an example here. We're seeing on this slide what it looks like when you embed or have the ability to launch a survey or a prompt or an action on your website. Uh, a key fact I love about digital is that it increases your response rate generally more than double digits. We have folks who are getting 20, 30, 40% engagement in these online surveys because it's in the moment. And it's not just on the website, right? I think we have a slide here that shows what it looks like if you have an app. You can also embed these surveys or prompts or actions, send folks any place from your app as well. So, do you, when you talk to, our customers or new customers, are they excited about the ability to increase response rates here?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, certainly. Excited, sometimes intimidated, but just like our survey tool, we make it really easy to come and get started and to get a feedback system built into like your digital application and your website, especially for your younger customers, your younger audiences. We know this is where people are spending most of their time. So it really is worth the effort to get these moment in time systems set up. Like Rosie said, not only does it increase your response rate, like sometimes fourfold from what you're doing now. But also you'll notice that the quality of your feedback starts to increase when it's right there in the moment in time. You're capturing the raw emotion, whether they're really excited or maybe upset with a certain purchase or a certain experience inside of your ecosystem. We have the opportunity to grab that right there in the moment.
I'll share something just anecdotal. This is personal, but I work for Alchemer, right? I have a vested interest in and understand the importance of feedback programs. But I have to say, when somebody sends me a survey, maybe a week or a few days after I bought something or interacted with their company, I don't want to fill it out because that's kind of I'm past that moment. It already happened. I had my emotions about it, good, bad, or neutral. And it's hard for me to take the time to let the company know how they did, versus when I get an in the moment interaction, like, hey, I just purchased this thing and immediately in the app. Let's say I just bought a coffee from somebody through their app, and then I get that survey popping up immediately. Did I like it? Was it hot enough? Was it the right price? Did I like the flavors? I am so much more likely as a user to respond then. And I'm sure everybody is the same, but it's, it's something we don't think about when we're running these programs and have been running them the same way for years, right?
strike while the iron's hot.
That's right. So, okay, Stefan, enough about digital. I think it's a great tool, but let's just do a quick recap here. Folks who have individual plans generally choose them because they just want to launch a survey really quickly. They need lightweight logic. They'll still get access to reporting. They can share out those reports. We have a ton of help articles available to guide them. Now, where it might make sense to start thinking about scaling is when you want to automate, send your data, your feedback data to another system, or get data into your surveys from a system doing more advanced analysis. I know you're going to show us a sneak peek of a product that business platform users get that's very cool. Maybe they might have concerns about security and want to enable something like SSO or multi-factor authentication. And then we haven't talked about this yet, but the fact that you get 24/7 live support and an account manager dedicated to your plan, I think is really clutch as well to help you grow and scale and hit those goals. So, with that being said, let's launch into your demo. Thank you again. I'm excited to see what you have on offer for us today. Um, and we're going to be in the Alchemer platform for the next few minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Rosie. Everybody, yeah, we'd like to start in the platform that you know and love. We're living in the Alchemer survey here. We know a lot of you folks here, customers, some of you for a very long time. One solution that's hidden inside of the platform, that's guarded behind the business level platform, is like we talked about, your ability to integrate with the other tools inside of your ecosystem. For today's example, we're going to use Salesforce. It's one of our most used integration platforms. But like Rosie said, this is going to look the same for practically all 400 of the systems that we support when in this case, what we're doing is we're enriching your feedback records here with the important data that already exists inside of a CRM tool like Salesforce. So for example, personalization information like account or customer name just comes right over. Very little configuration to do so. More background information like who owns this account, the actual renewal date of the account itself, so we can start to tie this feedback data back to folks that can see it inside of Salesforce and take action on it when they need to. And then other things that we'll look at here, like lifetime value, things like customer tier, are all accessible. So we like to say, whatever your other tools know about your customers, your accounts, why doesn't Alchemer know about it? Well, as you're seeing here, it's a pretty long, exhaustive list of possible fields that we can map. But the floor is yours for what you think you need to pull or push into your feedback records. And it really is that simple as selecting the element from a drop-down menu and placing it where it makes sense.
I'll just share. You're in a survey here. Obviously, folks are, as you said, familiar with our survey. I was running a survey a few weeks ago to some of our customers, and I use this exact integration. And the goal was I wanted the survey to auto-populate with their first name. I wanted to know how long they'd been a customer, and dependent on the age of their account with us, they got different versions of the survey that were relevant to their experience, what products they use the most, maybe who their account manager was. And so, as a relatively non-technical user, it was easy for me to go in because these fields are pre-built, because the integrations are so easy to stand up. I was able to segment to our customers really, really easily and give them different versions of the survey that were most relevant for them. So I just want to say, I think this is so cool. You showed us that huge list of pre-built, fields. Which I think makes standing something like this up, you can do it in minutes, right? It's a fairly quick thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Probably didn't even need to call into tech support for that one.
I hope not. Uh, okay, yeah, let's keep you going with this demo.
Yeah, so when we talk about connecting data, we really want to show you something unique that we have inside of the business platform called Alchemer Workflow. I know some of you might have seen the marketing materials about Alchemer Workflow, but I just want to explain it, what this tool does and how it helps businesses scale both collecting feedback, but also increasing the visibility of this feedback inside your organization. So we'll stick with Salesforce for this example, but as you're seeing, this is just a really short list of some of the systems that we already have pre-built in our system here. It's a demo environment. So you're seeing things like, like ServiceNow, support tickets, Zendesk will show you a little bit, Workday for HRIS use cases, HubSpot for, marketing uses, but we're going to take a look at Salesforce here today. And in this example, what we're going to do is we will create a scalable workflow for a new customer that comes into Salesforce. So what we're watching for now is a new record being created, a new customer record, and that's pretty much the configuration to get this feedback flow configured and started. So when a new customer comes in and they sign up for your service, for your business, and they make their first purchase, what we're going to do in this case is we're going to separate two different chains of action here based on whether we hear negative or positive feedback on their experience, to kind of bookend and send two different pathways that, like we said, happens for every customer that falls into this workflow. So if we hear negative feedback, something really important that we help people do is make sure that your customer feels heard. The worst thing, like, Rosie, when you're so reluctant to give feedback, but when you do, like, you really want to make sure that it's heard inside of the organization. If you're just screaming into the voice and negative feedback, we see that it, even increases like the negative sentiment about their experience here. So we make it really easy, just like we showed you earlier about personalizing every interaction. We're going to help close the loop and make sure that they know that, one, their feedback was heard and that we're taking action on it, because the second action that we will show you, which is a really easy and fun to use drag and drop system. In this case, we've decided to open a support ticket in Zendesk. I mean, this is a new customer. We want to make sure that their experience is guarded and they don't churn from our organization. So in the very important kind of honeymoon phase when they're first coming into the organization, in this case, we've elected to open a support ticket. And it's really easy as just dragging this function in, setting it up, and this happens for every new customer.
Yeah, so summarizing what I'm seeing here, and I'm making the assumption this can happen across any industry, any use case. It might be a public entity like a school district gathering feedback, from teachers or students. It might be I don't know, somebody selling mattresses trying to understand if their customer liked the
Yeah.
mattress they just purchased, but it's across anybody. And so you get that survey, and if it sounds like we're able to really easily set up rules that say, hey, if they give us below this score in their feedback, we want to automate this action happening, opening a support ticket, sending them to an account manager. Or if they give us a great score, maybe we want to ask them to write a review or, invite them, give them a discount code to go buy something else. I love that. And I will say, I just had a service interaction with somebody recently. I gave feedback and the company never acknowledged it. And I did feel really frustrated by that. So I think, your point of closing the loop with customers is well taken. Like this is the thing and it reduces manual labor, right? If somebody's doing this manually, now all of a sudden it's automated. And the drag and drop looks quite easy, so you can just pull in any system here. Is that right? And it's just as easy as setting up the trigger you want.
Yep, that's correct here. I love that you caught that on the positive feedback. A lot of times we're so focused on the negative, like what do we do about negative feedback? But on the other side, when people want to tell the world about your business, we should help them. So on the other side, we're automating maybe an invitation to a loyalty program, or like Rosie kind of caught there, a really streamlined way to get that feedback, not just live in Alchemer, but go out in the public and have that promoter go and tell them all about their experience out on something like Google reviews or Yelp or any other site that is important to your business. Reputation is everything. Um, there's two other pieces, just real quick, we want to take a look at that we built in here. One is something that we actually do internally here. I mean, we're a feedback company, so we love to spread feedback around our organization. For us, what we do is every time we hear your feedback, you should know that the entire company gets to see it. We have a public Slack channel that we utilize that everybody from our CEO to our IT group and everybody, we've created a public channel that every time you get positive, neutral, or negative feedback, a whole company has a channel that we can go and take a look at. And this happens in real time. Like once you give it feedback, within a couple seconds, it's inside of our Slack organization here. But Let's say you want to do something a bit more specific, right? So what I'll do, just to Rosie's point, is to demonstrate how easy these things are to configure, is what we see really popular these days is specific visibility channels. So for example, somebody gives you feedback about your product and we want to route that to your product team. Well, we can be very direct to update a specific channel or a specific individual to make sure that that group or that person isn't just waiting, at the end of the month or the end of the quarter to get a report and see like kind of everything in aggregate. Like imagine if you could see all that feedback live and when, you're eating lunch, you kind of read through the channel and you're watching the entire feedback. You can start to see trends. It's done at your own time, and it's a really popular way to use uh, these chat apps, like Microsoft Teams and Slack, to make sure that the feedback is actually routed to the appropriate people so they can either take action on it or commit it to memory about what folks are telling them about your business.
Speaking of, you mentioned, I love Alchemer has an integration for all of our customer feedback that goes into Slack. I do read it on my lunch, or, when I'm playing catch up, I'll go in and see the account manager has been tagged. What action are they taking? What was the feedback that was given? So I think you're so right. Making it visible to everybody in the org in real time is highly beneficial.
Yeah. Um, and in parallel, we make it really easy to push these records back to where they belong. Like for example, if HubSpot is your source of
Mhm.
truth here, um, what we're going to show you right here is how what we do with the data and help you guys visualize when we talk about from a program perspective. But we know that a lot of your stakeholders, live in Salesforce, they live in HubSpot. So it's really easy for us to make sure that that data lands in the appropriate place so their dashboards are populated as well here. So think of it as kind of a bookend experience, right? We're watching your systems, we're scaling your feedback operations, and we're also helping build those rich profiles that we all need to better serve our customers by using our really straightforward integration landscape as you're seeing inside of Alchemer Workflow. Um, but enough teasing there. What we really are love to show you here is we're just going to give you a quick preview of one of the sides that we call Alchemer Clarity. This is Alchemer Dashboard. So you folks that are used to the platform, you probably love Alchemer reports. I love Alchemer reports. They're fast, they're flexible. You can drill down inside of Alchemer reports. But when we talk about scaling and actually building a CX program here, what we can now do is help you guys take your like North Star metrics across all those different customer interactions that you're running through your workflows that you're scaling here, and really make sure that you guys have the why behind your data when certain things happen in aggregate, right? So, for example, you see your NPS score dropping, and we need to go and find out why. Like, we're going to have an interactive dashboard that can give you guys the looks in the data that divides it by region or by channel or whatever uh, division is important for you to take a look at from a high level bird's eye perspective. And keep in mind, since we're talking about integrations, when we pull in that rich metadata that we showed you all the way back to the beginning of the presentation here, we're not only collecting feedback data, we're now actually tying it to the financial metrics that matter. So the real end goal of a program is to collect feedback, delight your customers, but make sure that we can help you use that feedback to raise your bottom line. And this is what you're seeing pull in the like transaction data and the metadata from your CRM, your ERPs, your point of sale tools to make sure that you have a holistic view of your feedback program with a really simple implementation is what you've seen so far.
Stefan, I know you're just skimming the surface on this. This tool is so cool. The fact that you can get all of your feedback data, operational data in one place, showing patterns, across time to help you predict what's going to happen in the future. I know we don't have time for it today, but I'd really love for you to be able to give anybody watching who's interested a demo of the very cool features here. I know there's some AI too, we didn't have time to get into, but I would
Right.
love for folks to raise their hand and say, yes, they want a demo from you of that product in full.
You have my number.
Well, folks, reach out. Tell us in the chat here, the Q&A, that you want to see more of that product, and I'm sure we can get something set up with Stefan. I know we just have a few minutes left here, so we'll close out and hopefully get everyone back on with their day. But Stefan, thank you so much for that demo. That was super, kind of a light intro to things we can expect. And to quickly recap, what I saw, what you showed us, that idea of closing the loop. When you get access to the business platform, you can connect with your customers or users faster, get information to those stakeholders across the organization, and then take action really quickly on it. And I think that is a really key integral reason to think about upgrading to platform. We saw this and we didn't have a chance to show this in interest of time today, but I know that there are some cross-tab reports that you also get access to in reporting. Anything else you want to mention from an analytical perspective that you think the platform offers?
Yeah, we all have that buzzword on our mind lately, the AI-driven insights. That's what's really the most fun thing to demonstrate is to how we keep your data safe and secure, but we really give you guys fast insights into your data. So give us a ring. We'd love to show you that part.
And then we didn't show this today. We hinted at it in the beginning, but when you upgrade to platform, you do get guided onboarding. We have a full, very incredible onboarding team. They get incredible scores on implementing teams there. They have an average, I think it's like a 2-week turnaround on implementation for our business platform users, which in our industry is very good. You also get a dedicated account manager, somebody who's helping you scale, achieve your goals, and then that 24/7 support. So no matter the time of day you're in there or on the weekends, we have people available to help you problem solve, do whatever you need to do. I think the security aspect is also quite important for some companies and organizations. Whatever you need, we have incredibly robust security measures in place. And we have a lot of those in place for the individual platform too. But when organizations start to scale and need something like single sign-on or a multi-factor authentication, we are able to offer that to a platform user. And then to quickly recap here, again, one is not better than the other. We're not pushing platform and saying it's better than individual. But if you do want to scale and create a feedback program, as Stefan hinted at, a business platform is really a helpful solution. We build the right package. It's not just you get, these 5 pieces of the platform and that fits everybody. We build that. Stefan, I'm sure in demos, you're showing customers exactly what, you know, they need to get to their program goals. Is that right? It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We right size the solution for you guys. We just, call us up, let us know what you're trying to accomplish, and we do a really good job of being efficient with what we present to you.
I love that. And I think lastly, we would love some feedback on today's webinar. There's a QR code here you can scan if you have a phone on you. It's a very quick survey. Just let us know, in that survey, A, if you liked the content today, if it was helpful. We'd also love to know, in this survey, if you're interested in getting a demo from Stefan or someone on our team, you can let us know in that form really easily, quickly, and then we'll reach out to get that scheduled for you. And we'll make it relevant to you and your use case and your needs. So I think with that, Stefan, I want to say a huge thank you to you for taking time out of your day to demo and walk us through all of the value people can unlock. So thanks so much for joining. Any final words?
Well, my pleasure. Hope to talk to some of you soon. We'd love to show you more.
Thanks, Stefan. Appreciate it.
I know.
Bye.